Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 176. When we last left our heroes, Connor had appeared on the Eden Zero as the crew was starting to plot out their escape from Blue Garden, and Rebecca decided to trust Connor specifically for his piloting skills. His connection to Ziggy is still a little bit shaky, a little bit suspicious, but he is, whatever else he is, a damn fine pilot. And we see that full on in his escape from Blue Garden, as he activates all of the ether thrusters to help him get by faster, and then also starts to filter the other systems of the ship into the engines to make them go even faster. Heads through an asteroid field to try to block off the rest of the super fast army ships, and then finally uses the asteroids to create a dust barrier when Feather goes in alone after them, allowing the gang to successfully escape Feather's army and hopefully make it to Lendard in one piece. Feather then kind of reports this to Holy, who decides she's going to go after them in what she refers to as an immaculate military operation. That's where we leave off. So that being said, let's dive right on in chapter 176, the planet Dahlia. We have here Pino in this cute little mushroom forest. She's got a leaf for an umbrella over her head kind of thing. It's kind of adorable. Anyway, we open on Zhao Mei, lying in a pool of water in a swimsuit. Shiki and his crew continue their quest to defeat Ziggy. After 3 years, they have finally located Ziggy's main base. Connor gave them the clue they needed, and they took him to Blue Garden to keep him out of harm's way. But they were surrounded by the Interstellar Union Army and had to make their escape. Ultimately, Connor joined the crew, and with his piloting skills, they returned once more to the Kaibe cosmos. She's not really giving, last time, especially Weisz and Jean and Laguna kind of gave Connor some crap for dragging him to Blue Garden, and then deciding not to stay on Blue Garden anyway. Zhao Mei is much more kind of passive about that. And then there's kind of a beat. And then she turns to the audience. Why am I in a swimsuit, you ask? Why shouldn't I wear one once in a while? Hee hee. Alright, this is kind of a random aside there, but okay. The crew of the Eden Zero had considered having some maintenance done at Blue Garden, but because they were forced to retreat, they were unable to give the ship the care it needed. And so Shiki and his friends charted a course for the planet Dahlia. On this planet, one will find a repair facility for large vessels, as well as the popular summer vacation spot, Ryuzetsu Land. Alright, so to go into your a bit more obscure fairy tale bits, there's that one chapter in the middle of the Grand Magic Games arc, right? Where the gang goes to a water park. I think it was adapted as an OVA between the first two anime. I think it's I think it came out right after the first anime left off and before the second anime picked up. I think it's 298 or something in that series. Don't ask why I know that so well. But I think this is going to be a bit more of a relaxing water park adventure, bit of a fan service stuff before we get to the high drama of Lendard, which kind of does make sense with its namesake back in Fairy Tail. How the initial Ryuzetsu Land was sort of, a bit of levity before the Grand Magic Games went all dark and gloomy at the end. Anyway, Ryuzetsu Land. And yep, we open with the gang in swimsuits, Rebecca and Homura clean, and Couchpo in the background. Rebecca looks around. Wow, this place is amazing! And Homura, kind of blushing, just quite a magnificent sight. And Clean's sort of clapping her hands. This water park, it looks like fun! And Couchpo's off being Couchpo. First we better find the food court. Then we see Sister kind of leaning back on her lounge chair. We have the detail, emphasizing Sister's whole dominatrix vibes with the bondage across her chest. It's important to take a break once in a while. And Hermes is sort of chilling on her laptop, since we do have a big battle coming up. So yeah, this chapter is very sort of explicitly setting itself up as a kind of lighthearted reprieve before the big conflict with Ziggy blows up in everyone's faces. So I appreciate, especially in a series like Eden Zero, has always been a little bit aware of itself as a story. I appreciate that Mashima is very upfront. This is just kind of lighthearted nonsense. We'll have some fun, some might be a bit too kind of horny for my taste, but whatever. And then sort of a moment of everyone kind of relaxing before shit hits the fan on Lendard. Anyway, Pino reacts, a water park, an enormous accumulation of water. And Happy looks around, look at all the people. And Shiki is just sort of stunned. So many people. Do you think I can be friends with all of them? Oh, we're back to this bit again. Hello, miss, will you be my friend? He runs up to this random woman who's kind of like skeeved out by him. What? Rebecca turns to him. You haven't grown out of that yet? And Jean and Laguna watch as Jean comments, his baby face excused him before. And Laguna picks up, but currently it seems more like a pickup line. I do kind of like the idea that, like, the fact that, like, you know, the way that Shiki's gotten older, and so the same things he used to do have, like, different connotations now, is an interesting little bit. But anyway, we then cut to Connor. Or we cut to these sort of sparkling shots of Rebecca's TNA over there. And Connor, who's inexplicably tan now, okay, just sort of comments, a feast for the eyes. And Weisz gets on to him, yo, old man, don't go ogling my crewmates. Oh, like you would have done the same thing at the start of the series, Weisz. Like, you're right now, but like, you don't quite have the moral high ground here, is my point. But Connor corrects him, call me Captain, if you please. But don't the Eden Zero be equipped with an ether drive? It'd be capable of even automatically refining its ammunition. Do it really need a repair shop? And Hermit just tells him, ether drives aren't all powerful. They need maintenance. And besides, the pool side is the best place to get my programming done. Okay. Jesus is here for relaxation, I guess. Like, the right vibe to get our work done. Connor's a little skeptical. Not so sure am I about that. But Sister stands up. You don't get it. The reason you come to a pool is they're the perfect place for bringing in new animals. And when she just got Moscow attached to a leash and a fucking ball gag. Again, my thoughts on the series sort of BDSM gags, or especially when it's not used for a gag, but even when it is, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I suppose it's better as a gag than as like some serious bit. You know, interrupt like things like Ijuna's absurdly tragic backstory kind of like lost me. This is better, I guess, because it's sort of departed from the action, or detached from the action, I mean. Anyway, Connor's skeptical. Not so sure am I about that. In the same way he's skeptical about Hermit is the point. So we're kind of a repeating gag there. And then we cut to Pino sort of playing in the water. And then the two of them and a bunch of other people are kind of blasted off by geysers. Wee! What are these? And Clean turns to Laguna. Lagurino, you're amazing! What kind of name is Lagurino? But Laguna corrects her. It's not me. That's a water park feature. If it were me, I'd do this. And he just sort of explodes all the water, blasting everyone into the air. What the? And then Clean joins in. Oh, then let me have my wind powers. And she does like throw a gust of wind onto the waves. And then Jean gets onto them. Stop that, both of you. And then we see Homura, like, training by running in the water, letting, like, the resistance push against her. And Weisz comes over and asks her, what are you doing? I am running against the current of this lazy river. This makes for very intense training. And Weisz calls out to her, doesn't it bother the other guests? Do not fret. I have reserved the entire river. But tell me, Weisz, can you not make this river flow faster? And Weisz looks at her, you mean mob the water park? And he activates his ether gear. Sounds like fun. And he does that. The water starts to push Homura back. The force she was pushing up against the water is no longer enough. Weisz asks, is this what you wanted, Homura? This will be formidable training. And then the water is so strong, it knocks her clothes off. And now she covers herself. She calls it to Weisz, stop the water! No, I retract that. If you do, I shall be fully exposed. And Weisz So we're kind of seeing Weisz growing up here, because this is the second time this chapter he's reacted to sort of a potentially horny situation with kind of maturity. You know, when he told Connor to knock off the ogling, and his response here is, maybe it's a little too strong. I feel like pre-time skip Weisz would have been all, oh yeah, time to see Homura naked. So it's kind of nice to see him growing up, I guess. That's all we have of that. We only have a bit of Weisz realizing, oh, maybe I could get a peep here. Because we cut straight to Rebecca and Shiki. Rebecca, there's like this kind of sort of totem pole looking thing. And Rebecca calls to Shiki, Shiki, let's take some photos there to remember our visit. Okay, I'm going to take the crap out of those pictures. And we see them kind of like back to back against the pole. They're both doing kind of like monster thing. Sort of like smile going on here. And then Rebecca kisses Shiki's cheek. Alright, I guess the Shika shippers are eating good tonight. And Rebecca turns to her, what was that last one about? Because you're always helping me out. And she has this sort of, she's clearly like trying to be sultry, but I feel like she's sort of embarrassed by it, because you see like the blushing and like the sweat. A kiss from me is a pretty valuable reward, don't you think? But Shiki's even more sort of taken aback by it and sort of corrects her. But you're always helping me out. And Rebecca gives him a thumbs up. Then let's mark our future together as a mutually beneficial relationship. And they give each other a fist bump as Shiki tells her, once we beat Ziggy, let's go to Mother. I can't wait. We'll all go together. And then they hear some like murmuring in the distance. Rebecca stops to look at it. And Shiki catches her attention. What's up? Is something happening? And they go over to, like, investigate. There's some folks laughing. Yeah, seriously? She's in a swimsuit. She's trying to scrounge up more views? What a loser. I mean, this is the water park. You expect people to be in a swimsuit here. And it's Labilia, who people seem to have, like, turned against in the past 3 years, given that earlier comment. She also seems to have cut her hair. Her ponytail is, like, the same length, but the rest of her hair, which is always sort of detached, looks a lot shorter. And Labilia is kind of clearly uncomfortable here. Who are you people? And okay, so it looks like people are sort of coming up and like taking selfies with her in her swimsuit. Is everybody watching? We found Labilia the has-been. So yeah, Labilia's not doing too hot in this new year. And Labilia snaps at him, excuse me, you don't have my permission to record me. You don't have, na. She's still putting on that little act. Yeah, these guys are being kind of creeps to her. Like, Labilia's been kind of an ass, for a long time. But that doesn't excuse recording people, especially in a swimsuit without their consent. Still kind of fucked. So you're pinning your hopes on the swimsuit vid because you can't get any new views? Your career is over. And Labilia is just like, I'm here on vacation today. And the guy continues, Labilia continues, stop recording me, I mean it. Oh, she's mad, yeah. You want to show how sexy you can be, why don't you take it all off? They all like get up and like, you know, clearly the sort of what started out as mocking has become a good bit more sinister here. I love it. Let's see the lovely Libby strip show. Well, go on. Do you want us to help? Labilia is, you know, obviously uncomfortable here. No, stop! And all the guys slam down with gravity. Labilia is sort of shocked to see that she's suddenly a good bit freer. What the? Suddenly I just, what the hell just happened? And Shiki just comes up to them. What are you doing? We're at a water park. And Rebecca, like, looking down at them. You're disturbing all of us, so can you get lost? And Labilia is stunned to see her old bullying victim out here defending her. Rebecca, Shiki, and Rebecca only just now realizes Labilia. Labilia? What? And Shiki, like, looks at her. I'm not quite sure if there's recognition in those eyes from Shiki, or if he's just like, or if her new look has like confused him. And Labilia and Rebecca snap at each other in unison. What are you doing here? And then the ringleader of the thugs turns to his friend. Who's the dumb kid? And his friend, how did they knock us all over? And that whole gang's like ready for a fight. You got a death wish, Julia? Let's get him. Guess we're making a snuff film. Oh boy, I don't like these guys. I really fucking don't like these guys. But Shiki just sighs, for crying out loud. And then the last member of the gang notes, whoa, wait, that chick, is that Rebecca? For real? What's a big influencer like her doing here? Woohoo, she is seriously hot. And Labilia, Labilia wasn't doing too hot with the whole guys trying to strip her down. But she's also in a different sense, I think, unhappy with this reminder that, like, Rebecca's become this star while she's the sort of has-been. But the gang leader notes, she's got a man? What a letdown. Hey, nobody cares about Labilia. Let's play with little Becky. But yeah, the gang is this gang is raring to go. Ooh, good idea. But we'll take care of that guy first. Then we'll get a Rebecca striptease. Woohoo, it's so good to be alive. Yeah, they're fuckers. They're about to die. And we see Shiki, who is just ready to kill these guys. I will say, though, my complaint here is kind of that, like, I was expecting a sort of light and fluffy, having a little bit of fun chapter, and going into, these would-be rapists is not exactly my idea of fun, but okay. Anyway, Rebecca tells them, you won't like what happens next, guys. And then someone else approaches, someone I'm not sure we've met before. That's enough. Oh, it's Holy. Okay. Everyone's sort of head over heels for Holy. She's wearing a fairly revealing suit. We see one guy staring at her as his girlfriend tries to lead him away. And Holy tells them, it isn't a good idea to start a fight in a public place like this. You could get arrested. And the gang sort of all reacts, well, what? Another hottie appeared. What a day. Woohoo! And Shiki, of course, recognizes her, and is a little shocked to see her. I am Holy of the Interstellar Union Army's Ryuzetsu in Interstellar. If you insist on carrying on like this, you will be arrested. Union Army? For real? Uh-oh. And thanks to Holy, the gang skedaddles. Excuse us. Aye. But Rebecca is ready for a fight, given their just past encounter with the Interstellar. And you see Rebecca ready to go. Ryuzetsu Interstellar. Shiki also, we can hear this crick noise from his knuckles, I think. But Holy tells them, now, don't get all up in arms, my dear Shiki and Rebecca. I am not your enemy. So will you join forces with me? We can be friends. And the chapter ends with Shiki, Rebecca, and Labilia all kind of reacting to that. Okay. So, let's talk about the fun stuff first. This sort of light and fluffy beach episode or water park episode. I think I mentioned earlier the sort of Ryuzetsu Land is both in name and in-universe concept, a callback to fairy tale, but also in sort of a narrative sense, it's doing the same thing the original Ryuzetsu Land chapter did. And now that I've read the chapter, I think I was largely right about that. Though, it has the kind of uncomfortable edge of Eden Zero's kind of worst moments attached to it. It's not quite as light and fluffy as the original Fairy Tale Ryuzetsu Land chapter. It has the sort of both the more lighthearted sister in Moscow bits, and then the would-be rapists from mid-chapter is just I'm not a fan of it. Never really been convinced Mashima does this kind of story very well. It's distinctly a choice, and I'm not sure it's necessarily a good one. But also, it's less a filler chapter than that original Fairy Tale one, just because of Holy. And the Holy thing, maybe that whole segment that I really dislike is just sort of an excuse to get us to this scene with Holy. But the chapter is largely really light and fluffy, or with that Labilia bit, it's hard to call it light and fluffy. But it's largely extraneous, I'll say. That's a better term. Kind of filler-y, for lack of a better term. Until we get to Holy, who wants to join forces with Shiki, and I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure if we should trust her, for one thing. I'm going to go back to the exact line she had at the end of last chapter. Now it's my... So Feather asked her where she got that information about Shiki and the gang going to Lendard. She doesn't answer that question. She instead says, now it's my turn. I will launch an immaculate military operation. I think we all sort of assumed that would be about going after Shiki. But there technically isn't anything that in that sentence that inherently says she's going after Shiki. If she knows Shiki's going to Lendard, maybe she plans to, given how influential Shiki and the gang were in the Nero War, in the Aoi War, maybe she plans to use them a bit more intentionally this time in an alliance to go after Ziggy? Possibly? I don't know. I'm purely spitballing here. That might be her larger goal. She knows they're going to Lendard, and the Union Army wants to get rid of Ziggy too. Maybe she sees, the enemy, my enemy is my friend, sort of thing. Though, of course, how the other Interstellars will see it, especially Justice, remains to be seen. But that's my best guess. Either she wants to join forces with them genuinely to go after Ziggy, or it's a trap. She wants to trap them somehow. She's going to trick them and betray them at the worst possible moment. Though I'm not sure why she would betray them. I'm not sure when she would betray them. Just because if she wants to form even a temporary alliance here, just for the sole purpose of betraying them, they're right about to go fight Ziggy. So there's no real time to betray them until after Ziggy's dead, because you wouldn't really betray them while you're dealing with Ziggy. So I don't know. I do think Holy's genuine here. Now that I've had a chance to say everything out loud and sort of get my thoughts in order, I do think she wants at least a temporary alliance with Shiki, knowing that Shiki's big enemy is Ziggy. She wants to take down Ziggy because, she's part of the army. And she's willing to ally with Shiki to do it. My question, though, is I kind of want to tie that all up with Holy. And her code name, Holy. Specifically the name Holy. And her description, the immaculate military operation. Which has this kind of sense of pure and free of guilt and free of any evilness whatsoever. And yet she's allying with criminals. It's an interesting thing. I might be overthinking this part. But anyway, Holy has clearly set herself up as a character to watch here, because she's definitely playing some kind of game. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I have my suspicions, of course, but I'm not sure exactly how all this is going to shape up. But I'm excited to see where we go. So yeah, with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!